Hello and a very warm welcome to the research conference of the 2021 Agriculture, Nutrition and Health Academy Week. Thank you for joining us for what is our 6th annual conference and the second to be hosted fully online. My name's Joe and it's my honour to be kicking off today's session with you. And that promises to be a really exciting and action-packed 3 days ahead. The conference begins today with an inaugural speech by Professor Peter Piot, Director of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, which is then followed by our first keynote speech by the remarkable Tanzila Qamberani, who is the member of the Provincial Assembly of Sindh, and who will be speaking to us live from Pakistan today, with whom we are delighted to be co-hosting this event. It has been quite a year since we last met, and as we all know, the past year has been hugely challenging for everyone around the world. It's been a year which has fundamentally exposed both the strengths and the frailties of our global and local food systems, and further highlighted the strain on the natural environment upon which we are so dependent. It's been a year of shocks, which have shown beyond doubt just how precarious people's food and nutrition security is around the world. And in the face of inexcusable and unjustifiable levels of inequity, it's been a year that suggests strongly the need for real, meaningful change to ensure that there is a sustainable future ahead for all. The nature of how we work has also changed drastically. I'm sure everyone will agree with that. I personally have been sitting in my bedroom in my pajamas now for 12 months. Only joking, kind of. But I think we can all agree that this period has highlighted just how invaluable and how irreplaceable face-to-face human interaction is, and those intangible benefits of being together physically are so hard to emulate in other mediums. But we can try. For instance, when you do tell bad jokes, usually when I tell bad jokes in this intro, I can see the whites of people's eyes and I move on swiftly. But on the flip side, it cannot be denied, I don't think, that the pandemic has also accelerated much needed changes in academia, in particular the modalities by which we meet to share ideas and evidence and lessons learned, and the ways in which we forge new collaborations and friendships. As we saw from last year's Academy Week, going online has the potential to significantly decrease the environmental impacts of conferencing and vastly increase attendance. And importantly, for us at the Academy, this can also lower long-standing barriers to participation among less privileged groups. And so as curators, conveners of scientific communities, and as participants in such meetings, we must continue to work hard to harness these benefits and continue to innovate so as to overcome the new challenges that are unique to this new online world that we find ourselves in. And as we find ourselves in the midst of this continuing pandemic, which seems to be ebbing and flowing around the world in different places, I'd just like to take this opportunity on behalf of everyone at the Academy to extend our deepest thoughts to anyone and everyone who is and has been or continues to be affected. I'm glad to say that this year's research conference really does not shy away from any of the issues I've just mentioned and more, and these most critical issues of the hour. Those are historical and contemporary, structural, subjective, and through an absolutely wonderful global effort, as always, through our various committees and collaborators and volunteers, we've got an interactive program for you this year that is designed to combat even the most dreaded, feared forms of Zoom fatigue. So I hope over the next 3 days, you'll throw yourself into the event and take up any opportunities that are on offer to explore some of the more novel ways to interact, so we can continue to learn together, how to do this. Before I get started, before I hand over to Peter and we take the event forward, I'd like to take a few minutes to share with you some exciting new updates from the Academy and draw your attention to some of the new initiatives that I hope you might be attracted by and get involved with. So, what is the ANH Academy, I hear you ask? The ANH Academy is part of a bigger program called IMANA, which stands for Innovative Methods and Metrics for Agriculture and Nutrition Actions. And IMANA is made up of 3 interlinking work streams, the IMANA Grants Program, the IMANA Fellowships Program, and this global network of researchers and practitioners that we call the ANH Academy. Together, these 3 work streams are designed to accelerate progress on tools, data, and capacity to guide evidence-based policy in agriculture food systems for nutrition and health. The goals of the Academy are fourfold: to build an interdisciplinary community that is designed to share ideas and innovative research in agriculture, food systems, nutrition and health, to stimulate the development of new ideas and new research and the harmonization of those methods, and to help strengthen the capacity of the research community to undertake these novel types of inquiries. And finally, an overarching theme is to continue to facilitate the uptake of this evidence into policy and programming. We are a large community, and I'm glad to say we're growing every year. Over 5,500 members in 138 countries around the world. And we really operate on a big tent ethos. We have core pillars that guide everything we do. These are that work should be interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary, should stretch across sectors and silos, and that there should be a grounding in equitable partnerships in everything that happens within the Academy. Now what you see in front of you is a rather retro-looking slide with a description of what goes on in the Academy. And it's hard to put it all into one slide, to be honest, which is why it looks a bit old school. But what you see here is the range of activities, from technical working groups to the ANH Academy Weeks, which themselves are constituted from learning labs and research conference, to capacity strengthening initiatives, and a brand new mentoring scheme that we're about to launch, and I'm going to talk about in a second. And all of this, as I've just said, is underpinned by a multitude of global and local partnerships, both online and offline, without which nothing would be possible. So just a big thank you at this stage to anyone and everyone, all the members of the Academy who make this possible and who contribute in many ways. A few quick words on the technical working groups. These working groups are constituted with experts around the world to synthesize concepts, methods, and approaches in different subject areas that are relevant to agriculture, food systems, nutrition, and health. On the left-hand side, you'll see some of the more established working groups that have had impact at different scales. And on the right-hand side, you'll see some of our newer working groups. And at this stage, I'd like to say, if you're interested or have a specialty, or you don't have a specialty, but you want to get more involved in any of these topics, then there's opportunities this week throughout the program. And there's also a range of side meetings that touch upon some of these as well. So I hope you'll get involved. As well as the working groups, Imana and the ANH Academy have a strong interest, as I said, in packaging up evidence so that it can be more useful and digestible for the people who need to make decisions with it. One of the ways in which we do this is to synthesize the latest evidence landscapes in different areas that are relevant to these fields. And a key function, a key way of synthesizing this and presenting it is through innovative and interactive systematic syntheses products. And one of the main products that we've been doing a lot on recently is evidence and gap maps. And you can see from the bottom some of the topics that we've been involved with. And what you see in front of you on the screen is the latest pre-final results from the ANH Academy Mental Health Working Group, which is really exciting. Come down to have a look on our website, and I'm sure that working group members will be glad to hear from you if you've got any ideas or questions about that evidence. Now then, 3 exciting initiatives that we're literally launching in and around the ANH Academy this week. And these are initiatives that have been driven largely by articulated demands from ANH Academy membership. The first is all about connecting researchers with data and resources. It's called the Scanner Hub, and it's led by Will Masters and Elena Martinez at the Tufts School of Nutrition. And it really hopes to deal with the question that many of us have, is how do we navigate through the information overload that is out there now, the range of data, analytical tools, just the sheer volume of research questions you could think of. How do you approach them from, crystallizing that research question through to finding the right kind of data and how to analyze it through to communicating it effectively? This is a great place to start. It's a living resource which is going to be updated a lot, and importantly in response to things that you suggest as members. So have a look down there and get in contact with the Scanner team. The second thing I want to draw your attention to is this new curriculum enrichment and training resources area of the ANH site. This was developed through the guidance of the Curriculum Enrichment Working Group, which developed a comprehensive needs assessment with lecturers worldwide. And we've just launched a living directory of member-submitted teaching resources. So If you've got resources that you use that you think lecturers in other disciplines would benefit from as they try and teach ANH linkages, you can upload them using this form, and you can also access new ones. There's going to be a lot of more activities through this coming soon, and I really encourage you to join the social hangout on Thursday to find out more about that. Finally, the last thing I want to announce is the mentoring scheme, which is also being announced this week and launched. There's a social hangout on Wednesday where you can come and learn about how to get involved. Again, this was developed in response to a lot of feedback we received through the Learning Labs about how members would like to connect and learn from one another. And so we're really excited to be launching this, and hope you'll see the value in that and get involved. So that's the last thing I'll say generally about the Academy week, other than just to let you know that there are loads of different ways that you can get involved on our site and through the Academy. Connect with other members, share information about your projects, your tools, your evidence. We're open to ideas, any and all ideas that you might want to propose, and we're happy to help facilitate. So let us know, do stay in touch. And now it's my pleasure to welcome you again to this year's event. And I just want to say a few words about how we got here. Many of you will have taken part, I hope, in the in-person event, that took place between 2016 and 2019 that rotated between Africa and Asia. And we were really proud to be able to host these with 20 regional partners. Since we've moved online, we've also been really lucky to partner with co-hosts in Malawi and now Pakistan. And as you can see, the number of people participating has increased rapidly. So thanks for being part of that transition. I couldn't possibly launch into the research conference without saying something about what happened last week, which was the Learning Labs. So last week we had 15 Learning Labs in which over 1,200 cumulative participants attended and learnt and benefited from. And as always, the Learning Labs for us is a time of year when we're just completely reminded and astounded by the level of goodwill that exists in this community. 53 facilitators from 28 institutions gave up their time and resources and expertise to deliver these Learning Labs. And they had the support of 300, almost 33 support staff and volunteers. So, a massive thank you for everyone who was involved in those, and the resources will be online soon after the research conference. A few words quickly about the research conference this year. We've got over 2,000 people registered, which is amazing, from over 100 countries. We've got all sorts of oral presentations and poster presentations and plenary sessions and social hangouts. And as you can see from the right-hand side of the screen, it really is a diverse community of different disciplines who have come together for the event, which we're really happy about. Finally, before I hand over, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to all the people who've made this possible. As you know, I'm sure if you've taken part in an Academy Week before, you'll know that it is the sum of many, many parts. We have a scientific committee with 45 members from 24 countries in it. We have an organising committee with 33 members from 7 countries. And of course, this year we've really benefited from this lovely partnership with Pakistan colleagues who have helped us every step of the way to design a programme which showcases evidence from the region. And we're really glad about that. And finally, of course, the conference would be nothing without participants and speakers and panelists and session chairs. So a huge thanks for returning this year. If you've been before and if you're coming for the first time, welcome. And I hope you have a wonderful time, and we'd love to have your feedback as always. And now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to invite Peter Piot to come and take the stage. Peter is the director of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. He's a Handa Professor of Global Health. He is the former founding executive director of UNAIDS and the former Undersecretary General of the United Nations. And we are delighted that Peter is going to give us an inaugural speech today. And so without further ado, Peter, I could invite you to turn your camera on. I'll stop sharing my screen.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Joe, and very impressive start. And hello, everybody, wherever you are in the world. It's phenomenal that this is already the 6th annual ANH Academy Week. amazing. And on behalf of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine and all our partners via the ANH Academy, welcome to the 6th Academy Week. Our school and the ANH Academy have strong strategic alignment around multi-sectoral approaches to food systems, nutrition and health, because that's what we need, multiple sectors, with our school being heavily invested in a range of interlinking fields. For example, climate change and planetary health research, where by definition, you bring in all the various sectors with a focus on striving for sustainable food systems and uncovering the commercial determinants of health. Another example is that we have innovative programmatic solutions through robust trials, such as UPAVN, and innovative methods, metrics, and tools, that you all must be familiar with, like with the IMANA. Along this are long-standing efforts to understand and address the determinants of maternal and child health, for which nutrition, of course, is fundamental. The role of agriculture and food system in antimicrobial resistance, vector-borne diseases, and emerging zoonotic outbreaks, of course, are of paramount concern and highlighted by the COVID pandemic. And the alarming rise in protracted humanitarian crisis around the world in the past decade has indicated the absolute need to better understand how the strengths and frailties of food systems mediate human health. And finally, last month, or this month now, a new consortium, the Global School Health Research Consortium, was launched at our school, and it's again a consortium of partners from all over the world, global and local, and is with nutrition as a very important component. Of course, the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still unfolding, we're definitely not yet, we don't see the end yet, it can't be overstated. As you'll know, as expert, it has jeopardized the hard-fought gains in health, in nutrition, in development in general, and studies have shown an association between some nutritional outcomes, such as obesity and certain vitamin deficiencies, and clinical severity of COVID infection, morbidity. So malnutrition in all its forms is now moving again in the wrong direction and projected to continue to do so in the wake of this crisis. Not only does this shock indicate that people live with unacceptably weak health systems and in people's ability to access to safe and healthy diets are around the world, but it fundamentally highlights that ensuring adequate and equitable nutrition and health for all depends on global, interdisciplinary, and multi-sectoral collaboration and action, and that includes research. I'm really proud that an H Academy is playing such a convening role for this cross-cutting community of researchers, practitioners, and policymakers, because it's only when we all get together that this will benefit people, because that's what we want to do. From its beginning in Addis Ababa in 2016, the growth of the Academy and the vast expertise and goodwill it brings together is an inspiration for other areas in health and development. The Academy's innovations around making scientific exchange more equitable and sustainable, including the hugely popular Learning Labs program, of which several of you, I'm sure, have attended last week, as Joe mentioned, and in earlier Academy weeks. Plastic-free conferences in Accra and Hyderabad, 1-minute poster presentations, which I'm told are very popular and fun. I would find it a big challenge. For LSHTM, such innovations are critical in reaching further to support early career young researchers and promoting the exchange of ideas and learning across disciplines. And I'm glad to see that ANH Academy continues to be a leader in this field. So it's not only about the what you're doing, but also how you're doing it is equally important. So this year, it's a real honor to be co-hosting with key partners in Pakistan, where so much important work is going on in this field, with important shared experiences for us all. And I have only fond memories of my visits to Pakistan, but too long ago. And this afternoon, tomorrow there will be a symposium because it's my last month as director of the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And there is a called Farewell Handover Symposium. And the theme is celebrating partnerships, because I'm a strong believer that it's through partnerships that we will really have a long-standing impact, and particularly that we must strive to equitable partnerships, as much as we can. Now, if the COVID epidemic has taught us anything, is that that you need to work together across disciplines, across sectors, across countries, and that equity issues, and most striking at the moment, the inequities in terms of access to vaccines, that equity issues are absolutely at the forefront. They're not just a moral issue, but also that without equity, there's no way that we will stop this epidemic. Now, this has also been true for the other epidemics I've worked on. HIV, which still kills like nearly 800,000 people a year, and has killed cumulatively 35 million people, Ebola, and so on. And the principles of action are all the same. And there is always a strong connection with nutrition and with other sectors. Climate change, definitely, when you look at it, this is no longer something for far away, but it's a totally acute crisis that requires far more vigorous international and multidisciplinary and multi-sectoral collaborations. Now, this is also very high on our agenda as a school. So partnerships, but equitable partnerships. We're not perfect, but I believe that we're making progress every day. Now, we can have the best technical solutions we want, technologies, societal approaches, what have you, but they won't benefit people. They won't have an impact that we need without strong political commitment and action. And that is definitely another lesson, not only from this COVID pandemic, for everything that you are dealing with and in terms of development. So that means also that those who control funding, governments, so-called donor agencies, multilateral institutions, should prioritize nutrition more than it's been the case. And it's a point I'd like to make. I tried to make in some, in a piece in the Independent earlier this year. Now, so to conclude, what a fantastic week ahead. And I was told that there are more than 2,000 people have registered. This is fantastic from all over the world. It's a silver lining of our COVID-imposed Zoom and web, based interactions with all the abstract-driven sections, fantastic speakers. As Joe mentioned, we're starting off with Tanzila Qamberani, but also the novelist and essayist Amita Ghosh, who is quite famous for essays on climate change and environmental issues, and then 3 panel discussions that address incredibly timely issues: nutrition in the Pakistani context, with evidence and lessons learned, panel of perspectives and priorities, power and evidence for food system transformation, and one on decolonizing food systems, nutrition and health research and training, how to make it happen. So I'm really delighted to open the 6th Agriculture, Nutrition and Health Academy Week, and look forward to 3 days of collaboration, learning and sharing, and I hope celebrating. Now over to our good colleague, Professor Tanzila Qamberani. Thank you very much. Sunita, over to you. I can
Thank
see
you, Peter. Thank you, Peter, for that warm inaugural address and for the hearty welcome speech and highlighting the importance of multidisciplinary collaboration. So you have effectively led throughout your career, be it in vaccine research or Ebola or HIV, and in this context, food systems. And this is really important and is a fitting opening for the ANH Academy Week, where we are striving for multi-sectoral and multidisciplinary collaborations for meaningful and equitable impacts on the ground. So thank you very much. And now I would like to also welcome you all to the ANH Academy Week 2021. And my name is Sunita Qamberani. I'm Professor of Global Nutrition at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, and I'm also the director of the ANH Academy. So wonderful to see so many friendly faces and also some new names on the participant list. So those of you who are joining us again, a very warm welcome again. And those of you who are joining for the first time, delighted to have you in this group. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome Ms. Tanzila Qamberani to deliver her keynote address. Ms. Tanzila Qamberani was elected to the Provincial Assembly of Sindh, the second largest province of Pakistan, in 2018. She's the first person representing the Shidi community, those are the people of Sindh from African descent, to have been elected to the provincial legislature. So why Ms. Tanzila? As you will hear from her, Tanzila has spent much of her personal and professional life in fight for equity and dismantling age-old structures of discrimination and racism in Pakistan. As we know, factors that affect human well-being, be it economic or health, do not occur in isolation. People embody multiple intersecting and often historically marginalized identities. These intersecting positionalities place populations in an intricate web of systems of interlocking oppression. As a community of researchers and practitioners working across disciplines, it is crucial to understand how multiple identities such as gender, race, ethnicity, and so on interact and result in processes of exclusion and discrimination. We know that such structural determinants are critical for economic and health outcomes. A commitment to equity requires us to recognize intersecting inequities that individuals face when we consider how food security and health outcomes manifest globally and disproportionately affect people from multiple historically disadvantaged groups. Without such nuance, policies and programs that seek to improve food and nutrition security will be flawed. Who better to hear about how we tackle this intractable challenge than a person at the center of this fight for equity and social justice in Pakistan? Ms. Tanzila Qamberani, we are eager to hear your journey, and the virtual stage is now all yours.
Thank you. First of all, hello, assalamu alaikum, and namaste. Who am I? Does it matter? Well, my name is Tanzila Qamberani. I am a woman and a member of Provincial Assembly in Sindh in Pakistan. I am also the first woman of African descent to have become member of any lawmaking body in my country. I am an educated woman from a small town near the delta of Great Indus River, born into a home where girls' schooling was seen to be very important. I'm working mother. I'm worked as a program manager for a youth development project till the day I took oath in the Sindh Provincial Assembly in 2018. My life as a working mother meant that I had to take my young son with me when I had to travel. Now that my working hours have changed, my daughter called me in the evening and asked, "When will you get home?" "Yaar, you're too late." Yaar is the most familiar word for friend in Pakistan. So I'm happy and proud to be a yar of my children. My story is different from the one that I told about the women and race in South Asia, Pakistan or Sindh, but it is not unique. The history of Sindh and the place of the Shidi community, Shidis of African descent, in the land of Indus is also different from what we might expect, but it is not unique. Sindh is one of the cradle of civilization, and there is evidence of trade and other link with the many regions of world over the last 5,000 years. But the Shiris are the people of African origin who are thought to have descended from people enslaved and transported from the eastern coast of Africa from the 18th century. Shidi villages and settlements in the Sindh are to be found mostly in southern part of the Sindh and the closed stronghold of families of former rulers of Sindh, Talpur and their allies. Our elders says that the Talpur and allied families bought African slaves from worked on their farms, huts and their homes. So the word Shidi is associated with both African descent and with slavery. Shidis have sometimes tried to escape from this word Shidi. We have to use names such as my own surname Qamberani to indicate our association with African companions and comrades of holy figures in the history of Islam. But the word Shidi has also come to represent in our identity and pride in sin. When British colonial troops attacked in Sindh in 1840, they faced a divided ruling family but stubborn resistance from others. Sindh's resistance was personified in Hosh Muhammad Shidi, or we say Hoshu Shidi, a general of African descent leading the Talpur army, who died in battle and revered as a national hero. Although slavery was legally abolished in Sindh by the British in 1843, an economic and social condition of former slaves, not just those of African descent, didn't transform. The 1973 constitutions of Pakistan reformed the abolition of slavery, but it took another 2 decades for a law to ban bed bondage. Debit bondage is common across Pakistan, and in Sindh, many agriculture workers subsist in conditions which have been described as a modern day slavery. Many of the Shidis who were freed from slavery continue to work as a servant for the former owners and their families. The relationship between former slave owners, mostly from Talpurs and related families, was weakened but not broken. Among the reforms in Shidi community in Sindh, a man called Siddiq Musafir stand out here. Siddiq Musafir, a man, a hero of Shidi community. He managed to educate himself and emerge as a poet, writer, and teacher. He thought that the education was the only route for the liberation of Shidi. I am personally independent of him, very much inspiring personality. When my mother was child, Muhammad Siddiq Musafir took her as a student. She received from him and the gift of education and the power of softly spoken word. Musafir was also an inspiration of my father, who followed his advice and got education and qualified as a lawyer. I believe that the soft spoken power of my mother's words enabled me to get an education. And I was one of the first women from my community to obtain a university degree. The story of my mother's softly spoken word and my education might be different from that of many other families in my country, which is still lag behind other in the region with respect to family schooling, but it is not unique. At the far end of our country, from the Indus Delta, in the mountain of Sawar, the same words were spoken softly in the home of a girl called Malala Yousafzai. Everyone knows her story now. It is tragic that her softly spoken words were made him such violence and inspiring that the violence made again softly spoken words. That too is part of our story. For many girls and young women who grew up in Pakistan after the 1980s, Benazir Bhutto was an inspiration. This is the truth of girls and young women of rural areas, particularly in Sindh province in which she belonged. Courage is something that our people value greatly. When she resisted brutal military action of General Zia and then become the first women prime minister of a Muslim majority country. She simply showed us something we know in our heart, that a woman is brave. When she returned to Pakistan from exile in 2007 and was assassinated by a terrorist, she became Shaheed Rani. Violence of all types, political, social, and domestic, is that women and men face day every day for doing the right thing or for not doing anything at all. My family had always encouraged social activism. In 2010, 2 years after the assassination of Shaheed Mohtarama Benazir Bhutto, I decided to become an active member of her political party. I was convinced that taking a part in a political process was the way in which someone like me, an educated middle class woman from a processed community, but should contribute to society. My rise in the party organization was incidental. Due to the illness of senior leader of party's women's wing in my district, I was asked to offer on her behalf. Unfortunately, the senior lady passed away. I was then asked to continue as the district head of women's wing of party. In 2016, the local government election were announced and I decided to take a part as a Pakistani. Uh, I was elected to the town election council and I applied for the position of town mayor. And my party encouraged me my application and even we had comfortable majority on the council. This was supported to simple matter, but I was far surprised. Another elected councillor for our party, someone who belonged to an elite family, defeated the party's decision and started a campaign for their own nomination. Maybe because of my upbringing, my family, middle class status, and my education, I had little idea about that what was coming. The challenger was from a family who were connected with a former Talpur rural or Sindh, and a family known to have held African slaves. His campaign against my nomination was based almost entirely on racism and sexism ground. How can a Shidi, they said, how can a Shidi woman become a own or mayor? These people were our slaves. Their women were supposed to look after our animals, our children, they clean our toilets, our home. Are we going to subject them now? No. All of this was shock for me. Secure in my own bubble. I had ever imagined that I would face racial insult in this time, or even this such insult were held keep inside the heart of former slave owners to start spoiling our when they feel threatened. These insults were just the start. Then come mafia-style threats of violence. Please try to understand. You still have to live here after the election. Leave the mayor's position and join us. We'll give you in some other office, but don't go against us. Fourth, with every threat, I left home and moved in with some relatives, but refused to give up my nomination. My challenger managed to break the party's majority. He lined up a number of councillors with him. Whether they were influenced by the racism or other threats, I don't know. Now I was in for another surprise. I had expected that in the face of this pressure and his success local campaign, the challenger will be able to persuade the party leadership to back him. This did not happen. Surprised that party was with me. Know how to politics work in my country. I thought that the party may abandon me rather than lose the mayor position. But much to my expectation, my party leadership disowned that man who said, I'm owner of the city and I am one who the owner of this mayor seat. I understood that my stand against this campaign had been recognized by the party leadership, and I received a nomination to the Provincial Assembly in 2018. This episode taught me important lesson. I learned education and the respectability that comes with it does not raise countries all projection, particularly in heart of operation. I also became far more sensitive to the everyday humiliation faced by members of the Shidi community and other. To Shidi youth, I want to just want to share one thing. It's not only single event, but I think it's a daily event. But I want to share one. And two Shidi youth wandering the street in evening are just detained overnight by the police on the surface and said, we are just checking that because police thought they are moving for stealing something. These type of matter that I need to take up in my hometown on an almost daily basis. In the assembly itself, I am asked by another members if I am okay with being called daddy. It is just painful. Daddy words mean grandmother, but it is used some areas to just identify the Shidi lady, the slave lady. I can only say, if you really feel like, say it, but say it to my face. But we also do much valuable work in assembly, and there is so much work to be done. In our country, key sectors such as agriculture, labor, health, education are just after the 18th Amendment, now the subjects of the province. So the Constitution was amended in 2010 to ensure that province exercise authorities in these areas. This has led to do a lot of activities at the provincial level, and also realization that we need to improve our capacity to be able to respond to the many challenges our people faces. Our assembly has been particularly active with respect to women's rights of worker, women's worker, rights of home-based workers, and other women-based laws also passed by the Sindh Assembly or my assembly. As I'm from a small town and a strong connection with rural areas, and as someone who has been a working mother for most her working life, I know how women's daily lives are her duties and other works are doing in daily activities. The duty to care for the children and their family, the duty to look after the life food, and duty to carry out farm work. Most of these duties don't don't count in, even they don't recognize as a duty. Women work inside the home or outside it, not seen as work, not by the men and not even by the women themselves. They think it's natural, it's normal. Our assembly has passed several laws in the last few years to try to change this situation. The lives of women can't be spent in the fear of violence or services of others or their own families. Men's life too. Families can't be all about the duty and services. For me personally, the friendship that I have enjoyed with my parents and now with my own children, it is the most valuable thing. And I want that for everyone, my every lady, my everyone. So, who am I and why does it matter? I am no one special, but I am a woman, a Pakistani, a Sindhi, a Shidi, a educated person, a working mother, and political mother. From where I stand, things are quite simple, but never ignorable. My uncles were brought to Sindh from Africa as a slave. By the rulers of Sindh, when Sindh was treated by the British, the slave owner, rulers of Sindh failed, but as Shidi emerged as a national hero. The same colonial, they ended with the slavery of the Shidi. I'm product of reformers in my community who thought that education was the path to liberation. But I am an educated middle class Shidi woman, was prepared for the racism I faced in the arena and electoral process. I was guided by word spoken softly, and in my violence handling of loud male violence, my voice was heard. In the middle of noise, loud male voice, I found powerful allies who stood by me because they thought I had stood with courage. At the end of the day, when the politicians' work is done and the assembly or at the police station, usually at her entirely unsituated to people who were valued time with their families, the voice I must want to hear is that of my child. When will you get your home, Mama Yar? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tanzila. That is a very powerful speech, really going from the ancient Sindh to the modern day challenges that we see, but that we see today, but also a very inspiring and personal journey of how you have overcome several of these challenges that you yourself have faced. So we do have 5 minutes for question and answers, and we do have some interesting questions touching upon several of the issues that you have raised. Could you turn on your camera, please? Because you will be answering some of these questions. Yes, perfect. Thank you so much. Some of the questions are more general, and one of the interesting issues you have raised is how your party has supported you in the end for nomination. And one of the questions we have here is, how can a political system be more inclusive? What, based on your experience, what would be some of your suggestions on how political systems, especially at the grassroots level, well, or whichever level, can be a bit more inclusive than we are seeing currently?
Smita, actually, when I was applied for the mayor, there were 19 councillors. So we thought that this seat is a 100% party on seat, and 19 councillors belongs to my party. So the election is just a formality. Everybody thought that. But and these 18 members are mostly my neighbors, and we know each other since 50 or 60 years. But when this nomination was occurred, mostly my neighbor said, "Oh, she is black, she is slavery background," and that was surprising. That we expended lots of time, lots of event. I didn't realize that they are thinking that. Even in my schools also belongs to the same city, and my colleges are also in the same city. It was surprising that after 30 years, I realized that the people are thinking that Tanzila belongs to the slavery family. It was a surprise. It's not a good surprise.
Right. So, yeah. So how did your party nomination help you in the terms of what aspects of your political system currently improves participation of women or people who are historically marginalized to participate in the political process?
First, I want to complete your first.
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Okay.
So I was clear that if my friend, my neighbors thinking that the slavery background lady does not be the mayor seat, or does not deserve this mayor seat, then how can the party, and Pakistan's largest party? So I thought, when they knocked to the party and realized that party will likely, okay, Tanzila will know more. But party taken stand. He said, Chairman Bilawal Bhutto said, people who thinking that Tanzila's crime is that she's a lady. If Tanzila's crime, she is from slavery family, then you are not from us. He clear message. So it gives the power. Now I think might be there's many types of people are present in Pakistan or political system. Those people who said that a black lady will not be the mayor, also the part of this political system. But we have such type of thinking. They said there's this slavery background, and poor woman is not in crime. So we are very much hopeful that we have a leadership that is thinking about the humanitarian ground, that thinking about the people, the thinking about the women. So we have hope. It's not a hope for the Tanzila Qamberani. It's hope of Pakistani peoples. This the one day it's to be happen that this white thoughts will be come over these all black holes.
Thank you. Thank you. So you're saying, yeah, there should be political will for more political participation of, and with more and more people such as you, hopefully those spaces will open up more. The next question, probably we just have, there are some questions, and those of you who are interested in specific technicalities of agriculture, nutrition, and health, please join the Pakistan panel session tomorrow. Here, I just want to pose one question that has come up, which is that you were instrumental, and your assembly was instrumental in passing a bill for women's rights, right? Women's workers' rights. You mentioned that. I was just wondering if you can elaborate on that more and how you think this would impact your community at large, but also the Shidi community at large.
Actually, we have passed one law that mostly women who are working in agriculture, women who are working in farms, we are very much concerned about their health, their kids' health. So since government passed the act that if the women go to the health facility for her and her child health, then government must be pay half of the payment, half of the salary. So it's bound by the government. We think if women and child will be healthy, then the society become healthy. So it's a big step that we are going to take, because our women, as I said, that our women didn't realize that work what they are doing, it's a job, and jobs need salary. Mostly women doesn't know that. So since government going to realize them that you are going to do the job and you must pay the salary. So, and the second step is your government is going to pay their salary or their daily wages when they come to the health facility for herself or health or for her kids' health. So, and then we are making another law that's a home-based worker. Ladies who are working in home for earning something. In Pakistan, they thought that if ladies is working in home for stitching something or for model for design something, it's not a work. It's just a hobby of lady, and mostly middlemen are taking the benefits of these all things. So now government of Sindh going to achieve, then they attack this middleman, and now we are going to connect the lady who working at home and taking their things and post to the market. So they enhance their work. And we realize that it's not a hobby, it's a work of women where she expended whole day. You know that India and Pakistan culture is the same, and we are mostly ladies are just making some ghagras, some shirts, some souvenirs that's made by the home-based workers, but that work's also not recognized by the government. Now we recognize this women's home-based workers.
That's an amazing and progressive step. And Shahid, I hope you had a question about what has the government done, and I hope that answers your question. That is just not a relevant thing just for Sindh, but entire world, wouldn't you say? With the COVID pandemic, we have been seeing the reversal of progress of women in the workplace. And at a time such as that, to pass this bill is just absolutely phenomenal. Congratulations on that success. And we hope that it will, the implementation of this policy rolls out without any hitches on the ground. Thank you, Tanzila. We really appreciate you taking the time here. I know how busy you are, and I understand it was the budgetary session a week or two ago. So thanks for taking the time. We are really delighted. And I hope you, if not on live, you can at least look at some of the discussions we are having, the recorded version sometime down the line. And with that, I would just like to thank you once again, and thank you to all the people who have posed the questions. Unfortunately, because of lack of time, we will not be able to take all those questions, but I hope you got a gist of some of the answers there. Now, I would like to move to the last part of this inaugural session, which is to hand over it to Abel Endasha, who is our colleague at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine. And you would have heard from him. He's perhaps the most popular guy on this Academy Week, and you would have heard from him, several of you, regarding this conference. He will walk you through the exciting and interactive program we have today and tomorrow on the day after, the next 3 days. So on to Abel. Hope you can stay on so that he will walk you through the program and we can proceed with the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sunita, for that introduction. I'm not sure if I'm the most popular one, but I'll take it. And before going to the break and poster viewing session, I would like to say a few words about our approach for this year on how we can maximize interaction and participation during the conference. I am particularly excited about the interactive poster session that we have this year using special chat platform. So first, I'll talk about the social media, because since it is an online conference, we expect everyone to engage with us online. So please tweet for us using the official hashtag for the conference, which is hashtag ANH2021, but also you can tag us on Twitter at ANH/Academy, and we will amplify your tweets by retweeting it. We also encourage you to send your reflections to be featured on our newsletter. I hope you've all seen some of the amazing illustrations from our team during the Learning Lab last week. So it could be in a form of doodle, it could be a few words, but also, if possible, a blog. So please get in touch with us if you have any reflections about any of the sessions during the research conference. I'll now move to the program at glance for you to see easily what we have for the next 3 days. As you can see, we have 10 thematic parallel sessions and 5 plenary discussions focusing on a range of topics. You will see that each day starts with a plenary session, and then on the middle of the day, we will have parallel sessions. During these sessions, please use the chat functions, interact with other participants, and also be an active participant. The social hangouts and side events that we have for this year, there are some side events as well. So again, I will direct you to visit our website to see the side events and social events that we have for this year, and also encourage you to join us in this side events and social events that we have in the next 3 days. The new website that we have, as some of you may know, we have a new interactive website where you can find a wealth of resources on ANH research. And the website is also designed specifically for you to engage with members as and when you can, before, during, but also after the conference. And you can do that in different ways. First, for better experience, we advise you to always log in into your account. We also encourage you to update your profile. If possible, please add a profile picture that looks nice, and explore our members database where we have more than 5,000 members. You can also filter members based on specialty, discipline, and geography. And you can also contact members directly using the messaging function that we have on our website. And you can find that one, you can find that function on your profile. On your profile, you can also add your own projects, events for others to see it. So please go to our website, explore it, let us know any feedbacks, comments that you have, and get in touch with us if you have any problem in accessing our website, but also in accessing your account. So the interactive poster session, to the exciting part. So the main poster session for ANH 2021 is today after the parallel session at 15:55 British Summer Time. So it's different time depending on where you are, and it will be for 75 minutes. That will stay the same wherever you are, so that's not going to change. Although the main session that we have is today, we also have other extra 4 sessions for tomorrow and also for Thursday during the break and poster viewing time. So we encourage you to join us in those times as well for more interaction with poster presenters. So this year, the poster session has 2 parts. So the first one is we want everyone to go to the poster hall on our website and explore the posters that are already there in advance before joining the interactive poster session. So please explore the posters, take a note of the room of the poster, which room the poster is going to be, and the poster that you want to visit. So what you see now is a poster hole on our website. And if you want, you can click on the abstract, you can read the full abstract. You can also view the poster in advance and also connect the speaker by clicking on their profile shown here and directly message them about their work and poster. Sometimes some of the posters you want to visit are in different rooms. So one could be in room 5, one could be in room 12, and I'll explain it to you in the next slide how you can move between different rooms in our virtual poster viewing room. But for now, the one point that I have is please explore the posters on our website under the poster hole tab, and also before you join the main poster session. So the interactive poster session that we have is called Spatial Chat, and it's hosted there. As you can see, we have 6 posters at the moment. We have 12 rooms in total, and in each room, we have 6 posters in each room. This interactive session is something new for us. It's a new platform, but we're so excited about it. We've also tried it with 72 poster presenters in the last 2 weeks, and it was a really fun experience. And we hope that the conference participants will like it as well. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to replicate the in-person poster session experience using this platform. So the way it works best is that first to explore, as I said, the posters in advance on our website on a poster wall, and then you can visit the spatial chat. So I'll say a few words on how you can use the system, how you can navigate between one poster to another poster, how you can move from one room to another room, but also how you can access the link. So for security purpose, the link that we have for this one is behind wall, so which means only members will be able to access it. So you'll find the link on our website under the poster hole. Once you get the link, please click it and then write your name, obviously, add a picture if you have, and also under About section, please write your affiliation. You will then be asked by Spatial Chat to use your microphone and camera. This is very important, so please allow it so that you will be able to interact with poster presenters in your session. Unfortunately, this is a new system and they don't have an app. And the best way to use the system is either on Google Chrome or Firefox. So we advise you to open the link either on Google Chrome or Firefox for more experience. And then you will arrive on the main ANH Academy space where you will be greeted and welcomed by ANH Academy support team. And then after that, we will ask you to move to one of the 12 rooms that you want to go and explore the posters. You will be able to see in one room, this is a sample room that you see on my screen, 6 posters. So, you will be exploring the posters in advance. You've already taken a note, so you know which poster you want to visit. And once you're in this room, for example, once you explore one of the posters, if you want to move to another poster room, you can do that by just clicking the room tab on the left corner of your screen. And also you can move your avatar from one place to another by clicking and dragging so that you can be able to move from poster 1 to poster 2 and then going forward and also exploring the other posters. One key point that we have, because this is a new system and hopefully it's going to work, but please bear with us if there is some issues when you are in the poster session room. One advice that we have for all participants is that we want your avatar to be on the top left of the poster that you will be visiting. So the one that you see, which is circled at the moment, is where a sample poster presentation looks like. So the presenter will be there, and then you will be close to them and ask them question. And the other key point here is distance. The system works in distance. So assume you are in a physical poster presentation and a presenter is standing next to their poster. So you will go to them and then look at their poster and ask them question. So that's how the system works. So the further away you are from that person is not going to hear you, but also you're not going to hear them. So once you are in this poster hole, please go to the top left corner of the poster that you want to visit. And you can move next to the person, which is basically the poster presenter, in 3 ways. But one, you can click their name, and then you will come close to them. And the other option that you have is also you can click and drag your avatar, and you can move it around the space. You can also zoom in and zoom out to adjust the space that you have on your screen. And you can find that option on the right bottom of your screen. So I think for now, I'll stop here, but we have some more instructions on our website. So please check those instructions before visiting, but also when you join later on, we will have a few words on the main ANH Academy space to kind of recapture and add any questions that you have during that session. I will stop now, but I wish you a wonderful conference. And then now I invite everyone to go to our poster wall on our website and explore the poster hall tab and read also the instruction for the special chat. And see you soon in the parallel session. Thanks, everyone.